Man, we have a lot to... Someday this show is going to make it big, and we're gonna get a remote for the camera.
I think we're gonna have to buy a new remote.
We're gonna get a new remote for the camera, and we're gonna get like a better sound. Maybe a band. You know, wouldn't it be cool? We had a band like the Tonight Show had a band, and in the old talk shows and all that. Anyways, here we are. Welcome to Sunday Morning Beers.
We have a studio audience.
We do have a studio audience that is on the verge of jumping in our laps. It'd be really cool if he came on over here. Mr. Finnegan?
He is just
he wants to.
chilling.
Yeah, he wants to. You notice the cool glasses we're drinking out of the 4th Street Brewery Fan Club glasses 2013. The coolest glass, I think. You know why I think it's the coolest glass? Because I like these style of glasses. Like, we have tons of free glasses. Our house is filled with tons of free glasses. You don't get glasses like that for free. It's classy and sophisticated, too. But what we're going to talk about... Oh, there's Finnegan. There he is.
He said there's no animal up there tonight. I gotta be the animal.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We didn't have somebody watching over our shoulder. Anyways, what we want to talk about with the beer that we have is kind of interesting. You know, there's been a lot of talk about what makes a craft brewer. You know, the Brewers Association even threw that out there. Craft or crafty, you know, is large breweries. Everybody's, you know, craft beer is so hot. People jumping on the bandwagons. You know, a lot of stuff's been going on for years. The big brewers, obviously scared by the growth of craft brewing. They've bought out some breweries. Goose Island certainly comes to mind, bought up. Anheuser-Busch actually has, you know, controlling interest in some other small breweries, some for a long time. Miller with Leinenkugels. And, you know, really, is it, you know, what's the restrictions on saying you're a craft brewery? If you're doing, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions of barrels a year, are you still, is it handcrafted? Can you say it's handcrafted when it's clearly it's not? But I guess, you know, you could say it's just good beer. Maybe that's just a good way to look at it. Now, the brewer of this beer here, this beer that we're about to drink here today, is really kind of one of the bigger ones as far as getting into the craft beer market and people not knowing that it was a big brewer behind it, and that's Blue Moon. Blue Moon is actually made by Coors, believe it or not. And so what we have today, and that's interesting. Okay, that's cool that Coors came out with a beer that's, I don't think it's a very good interpretation of what is a good style, the white beer style. But now they've gone beyond that, and they've done some other beers with the Blue Moon name on it. This one here really caught our attention. First of all, the bottle. When we saw this, I thought it was actually a wine bottle misplaced that someone had just put in the beer aisle. This is indeed from Blue Moon, which is Coors. Vintage Ale Collection, Proximity. So you can see, very cool bottle. You can see why we thought it looked like wine. Totally the label and everything. It's got, you know, kind of a painting, I guess you would say, on the label.
Instead of vineyards, it's like trees.
Yeah, it's trees. And this is called Proximity. And it says it's a wheat ale brewed with the juice of Sauvignon Blanc grapes. And that's another thing that caught my mind, because I've been big at 4th Street Brewery on doing the beer-wine combination things, fermenting grape and grain together. Been doing that for several years, actually, at 4th Street Brewery. So obviously that caught our attention. This is 8.5%. Now normally Blue Moon, your traditional Belgian white beer, wheat beer with orange and coriander, kind of the dominant flavors. The Blue Moon is sweet. Now we did have Blue Moon Grand Cru a year or two ago. We had the Blue Moon Grand Cru. It was really nice because it was not so sweet like that, and it had more alcohol in it, a lot more complexity to it. Let's see about this one. Let's check it out.
Cheers, Finnegan. Cheers. Here's to Finn. Definitely has that wine characteristic. Right in the nose and right in your face.
Very grapey, very white wine-like.
Yeah, kind of like white Concord grape. It's a Sauvignon Blanc, but it tastes like white Concord.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Welch's white grape juice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Those are made with white Concord grapes.
The beer part of it's pretty subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like taking a very light beer, like let's say an American style wheat beer, not what Blue Moon is, none of that yeast character, the fruity yeast character, and mixing it with wine and adding just a little bit of carbonation, because this is not very effervescent.
It tastes to me like sparkling white grape juice.
With beer. It does have some beer quality to it.
A little on the back, but...
Yeah, like a light beer. A beer without a lot of flavor. It definitely, I was expecting essentially Blue Moon to be mixed with the grape juice. And I don't get the Blue Moon character. I'm not getting yeast fruitiness. I'm not getting the orange peel, the coriander.
It's kind of dry.
Mm-hmm. It is dry.
I don't know. Not as good as your beer and wine combination.
No, certainly not as exciting as it sounds.
Almost tastes...
This is kind of interesting though, because this has more, it leans more towards the wine, more towards the grape side than the beer side.
And not even good wine, like cheapy.
I think it'd be better if it had more carbonation to it. I think at least it would be refreshing.
I think it's kind of refreshing up front, but it's not very... It's not very flavorful.
It's definitely not very flavorful.
No, because
it's certainly not bad.
I like a nice, strong flavor in a wine, and it's like too sweet. I think maybe that's fine.
I don't think that it's sweet. I think it's bland. It's flat, which kind of just reminds me like somebody had a bottle of beer that was open from a party the night before, and the next morning they woke up and there was a part of a bottle of beer and part of a bottle of grape juice, and they mixed them together and said, "Hey, let's see what this makes."
I don't like grape juice, and this tastes to me like Welch's grape juice.
Welch's, yeah.
And I don't
the
like
white
it.
grape juice.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't mind the white grape juice too much. It's it's not horrible. Like I said, I definitely wish it had more. It's kind of weak. I wish it had more carbonation to it. I think if it was real fizzy, that would help it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I also wish it had more beer character. If it would have been the Blue Moon character, more yeast fruitiness, the orange peel, the coriander. The other thing that I think, for 8.5%, it doesn't really seem very strong, does it? Could be sneaky. Could be a sneaky devil.
Could be.
It's, I don't want to say that big brewers can't make good beer. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Because you'll remember that Leinenkugel's actually, well, first of all, many, many years ago, before craft beer, back when people were saying that craft beer was a fad. There's cats everywhere.
Going on?
There's cats everywhere.
Oh no! Okay, this is what we deal with on a daily basis. The fighting. The fighting.
The cat fight.
I protect you, Lily.
It's many years ago, before craft beer was even big, Miller did a reserve series. They had a beer called Velvet Stout, which was delicious. And then, of course, Leinenkugel's, which normally, the kind of their beers tend to be too sweet. But they've had some nice ones. They had the Big Eddie series. They had the Imperial Stout, the Baltic Porter. Those are, big, flavorful beers. So it's not to say that they can't do good beers, so I don't want to say that this isn't good because Coors did it. It's just, it's not that it's horrible. It's just not really all that exciting, So, and it was was it expensive? It was $10 for that. It's not horrible really for a big bottle. And like I said, the bottle. I mean, you could say you were, into wine. You could put this up with your wine bottles and. Probably most people would have to take a close look at it to know it wasn't a wine bottle.
I'd say if it was $20, it'd be way too much money.
Oh, God,
$10,
$10, it's I'm not going to complain too much, So I don't know if we got that in Ohio. I don't know if that's available around here now. It's very possible.
It might be if it's made by Blue Moon. That's
seems national. Like it should be. Seems like it should be pretty common to find. So check it out. Something to think about. Big exciting things happening at Fourth Street Brewery. We got the kettle back. That is good news. And already brewed one time on it. And going to be brewing. So we're back into the groove now. And hopefully we can keep caught up and not run out of beer.
Doug's in the groove.
Keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed so we don't run out of beer. So.
Yeah.
This week, no new beer though. because it's kind of that it was the delayed effect. The kettle's
That's a
been gone
first,
for a
too.
while. Finally ran out of the beers. No new beers to come out with. So a week off as far as the new beers. But don't let that keep you from coming in on Thursday. Still, come in on Thursday. Either way, hopefully we'll see you this week at 4th Street Brewery. And here's cheers.
Cheers.
Good beers to you. Have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Hope that we find that remote soon too.